Good day teaching everyone. I am Pamaong, B Section 3A, and today I'm going to discuss the tourism public sector in Chapter 6. So for our learning objectives, we have to identify the various government agencies involved in the development and promotions of the tourism industry as well as their functions. Next is describe the relationship of these agencies with one another. Explain the possibility of public services as a career in our industry. And for our topic outline, we have the introduction, the Department of Tourism, Philippine Tourism Authority, Intramuros Administration, National Parks Development and Committee, or the NPDC. We have the National Historical Institute, National Center for Culture and Arts, the Philippine Conventions and Visitors Corporation, or the PCVC, Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas, or the BSP, the National Economic Development Authority, or the NEDA, and Philippine Amusement and Gaming Corporations. We also have Department of Environment and Natural Resources, or the DENR, Department of Labor and Employment, or the DOLE. We also have the Department of Public Works and Highways, or the DPWH, Department of Transportation and Communication, Department of Trade and Industry, Board of Investment, Philippine Economic Zone Authority, Department of Foreign Affairs, or the DFA, the Department of Interior and Local Government, or the DILG. We also have the Bureau of Food and Drugs, or also known as BFAD, the Bureau of Customs, the Philippine Coast Guard, Professional Regulatory Board for Custom Brokers, Nayong Filipino Foundations, or the NPF, and the Tourism Enterprises Zone Authority, or the TIZA. For the introduction, it was during the year 1973 when the Philippine government realized that there is need to realign government efforts toward trade promotions and tourism department for greater effectiveness. Hence, the need for the government's immediate and priority attentions. So this chapter deals with particular government agencies directly involved in the promotion of tourism in our country. Several allied government agencies may also be included in this chapter, as these agencies, though not directly involved in the promotions of tourism, tend to provide a substantial contribution to the efficient operation of the tourism industry. So for the Department of Tourism, the Department of Tourism, or the DOT, was created by virtue of the President Decree Number 189. It is a primary policy making, planning, programming, coordinating, and administrative entity of the executive branch of government in the development of the tourism industry, both domestic and international. For the Philippine Tourism Authority, it by Presidential Decree 564 on October 2, 1974 was enacted, revising the charter of the Philippine Tourism Authority, which was originally created under Presidential Decree Number 189, dated on May 11, 1973. Travel tax collections in PTA's main source of income. Travel tax is a levy imposed by the government on individual citizens of the Philippines, permanent residents, aliens who have stayed in country for more than a year, who are leaving the country irrespective of the place where the air ticket is issued, as provided by the PD 1183 as amended by the PD 105, or Batas Pambansa BLG 38 and EO 2323 on travel tax. For the Intramuros administration, 400 years, Intramuros has been a priceless heritage of the past for the city of Manila and a major historical landmark of the Philippines. In order to preserve and enhance the historical value of Intramuros, a national historical consciousness program demands its restorations, development, and maintenance, and for this purpose, so the Intramuros administrations, or the IA, shall be responsible for the orderly restorations and development of the Intramuros as a moment to the Hispanic period of the Philippine history. So for the National Parks Development or the NPD, the National Parks Development Committee was created originally as an executive committee on January 14, 1963 for the development of the Quezon Memorial, Luneta and other parks. The National Parks Development Committee was formed in 1963 to oversee the development of important national parks like the Quezon Memorial and Luneta Park. Its essential focus was on enhancing these parks and ensuring their proper maintenance. So for the National Historical Institute, for the Presidential Decree Number 260 dated on August 1, 1973, has declared certain sites, churches, and places as national shrines, monuments, and or landmarks, and placed their preservation, restorations, and or reconstructions under the supervisions and control of the National Historical Institute in the collaborations with the Department of Tourism. Today, the National Historical Institute or the HI continues to be the lead government agency where the matters of history and culture are concerned. It continues to conceive programs and projects for the public's appreciations of history, educating the Filipino masses on the lessons of the past and perpetuating the memory of our illustrious heroes. So for the National Center for the Culture and Arts or the NCCA, for the Republic Act 7356 has been enacted in order to create the mandate of the National Center for Culture and Arts. Its functions are follows. We have formulate policies for the development of culture and arts to coordinate and implement the overall policies and program of attached agencies in the development of culture and arts as stated under Executive Order Number 80. Administrative, the National Endowment Fund for Culture and Arts encourage artistic creations within a climate of artistic freedom, develop and promote the Filipino national culture and arts, and preserve Filipino cultural heritage. We have the Philippine Convention on Visitor Corporations or the PCVC. The Philippine Convention on Visitor Corporations is a non-stock, non-profit government corporation to the Department of Tourism tasked with promoting the country as an ideal tourism, convention and incentive travel destinations. So for the Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas, President, Presidential Decree Number 520 issued on July 23, 1974 empowered the Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas, formerly Central Bank of the Philippines, to organize a corporation with which will manage and administer the Philippine International Convention Center. The National Economic Development Authority or the NEDA. The National Economic Development Authority is the country independent economic development and planning agency. It is headed by the President as chairman of the NEDA board, with the Secretary of the Socio-Economic Planning, concurrently NEDA Director General as vice chairman. Section 1 Declaration of Policy. It is hereby declared to be the policy of the state to centralize and integrate all games of chance not heretofore authorized by existing franchise or permitted by law in order to attain the following objectives: to establish and operate clubs and casinos for amusement and recreations, including sports, gaming pools such as basketball, football, lotteries, and etc., and such other forms of amusement and recreations, including games of chance, which may be allowed by law within the territorial jurisdictions of the Philippines and which will minimize, if it not totally eradicated, the evils, malpractices, and corruptions that are normally prevalent in the conduct and operations of the gambling clubs and casinos without direct government involvement. For the Department of Environment and Natural Resources, or the DENR, as provided under Section 4 of Executive Order 192, the Department of Environment and Natural Resources is mandated to be the primary government agency responsible for the conservation, management, development, and proper use of the country's environment and natural resources, including those reservations, watershed areas, and land of the public domain, as well as the licensing, utilizations, and regulations of all natural resources as may be provided by law in order to ensure equitable sharing of the benefits derived therefrom for the welfare of the present and the future generations of Filipinos. For the Department of Labor and Employment, the following are the functions of the Department of Labor and Employment, or the DOLE. Enforce social and labor legislation to protect the working class and regulate the relations between the workers and his employers. Formulate and recommend policies, plans, and programs for the manpower development, training, allocations, and utilizations. Recommend legislations to enhance the material, social, and intellectual improvement of the nation's labor force. Protect and promote the interests of every citizen desiring to work locally or overseas by securing for him the most equitable terms and conditions of employment and providing social and welfare services. Regulate the employment of the aliens, including the enforcement of the registrations of work permit system for such aliens. Formulate general guidelines concerning wage income policy, recommend necessary adjustments in wage structure, with view in developing a wage system that is consistent with national economic and social development plans. Provide for safe, decent, human, and improved working conditions and improvement environment for all workers, particularly women and young workers. Maintain a harmonious, equitable, and stable labor relations system that is supportive for the national economic policies and programs. Uphold the right of workers and employers to organize and promote free collective bargaining as the foundation of the labor relations system. Provide and ensure the fair and expeditious settlement and disposition of labor and industrial disputes through collective bargaining, grievance machinery, conciliation, mediation, voluntary arbitrations, compulsory arbitrations as may be provided by law, and other modes that may be voluntarily agreed upon the parties concerned. We have the Department of Public Works and Highways, or the DPWH. The Department of Public Works and Highways functions as the engineering and constructions arm of the government tasked to continuously develop technology for the purpose of ensuring the safety of all infrastructure facilities and securing for all public works and highways the highest efficiency and quality in constructions. So we have Department of Transportation and Communications, or DOTC. The Department of Transportation and Communications is a primary policy, planning, programming, coordinating, implementing, regulating and administrative entity of the executive branch of the government in the promotion, development and regulations of dependable and coordinated work networks of transportations, as well as in the fast, safe, efficient, and reliable postal, transportations, and communication services. So the followings are the touch agencies of the DOTC. We have the Land Transportation Office, or the LTO. The Land Transportation Office is a proper agency which controls the registrations and operation of the motor vehicles and the licensing of the owners, dealers, conductors, drivers, and similar matters. We also have the Transportation Franchising and the Regulatory Board, or the LTFRB. The Land Transportation Franchising and Regulatory Board is the agency which issues, amends, revises, suspends, or cancels certificates of public convenience or permits authorizing the operations of public land transportation services provided by the motorized vehicles and to prescribe the appropriate terms and conditions. So for the Maritime Industry Authority, or the Marina, the Industry Authority integrates the development, promotion, and regulation of the maritime industry in the country. It was originally placed under the office of the President, so the Maritime Industry Authority is responsible for overseeing all aspects of the maritime industry in the Philippines, including its development, promotions, and regulations. It was initially established as an agency directly under the office of the President. So we also have the Air Transportation's Office, or the ATO. The Air Transportation Office is primarily charged with the technical and operational phase of civil aviation's matter. Its primary function is to establish and enforce rules and regulations for the inspections and registrations of the all aircraft owned and operated in the Philippines and air facilities. It is also in charge in operations and maintenance of the national airports, air navigations, and other similar facilities. So we also have the Civil Aeronautics Board, or the CAB. So the Civil Aeronautics Board regulates the economic aspects of air transportations and has general supervisions and regulations and jurisdictions and control over air carriers, as well as their property, property rights, equipment, facilities, and franchise. It also has the power to issue, deny, amend, revise, alter, modify, cancel, suspend, or revoke any temporary permit for the certificate of public convenience and necessity. We have Light Rail Transit Authority, or the LRTA. It is a corporate body which shall be primarily responsible for the constructions, operations, maintenance, and or lease of the light rail transit system in the Philippines, giving due regard to the reasonable requirements of the public transportation system of the country. This corporate body is tasked with building, running, and maintaining light rail transit system in the Philippines. Their primary goal is to ensure that these systems meet the transportation needs of the public while considering the overall transportation network of the country. So we also have the Metro Rail Transit Corporation, or the MRTC. The Metro Rail Transit Corporations Limited undertook to build MR33, which it shall own for 25 years, after which ownership shall be transferred to the Philippine government in accordance with Republic Act Number 6957, or the Build, Operate, and Transfer Law. The Metro Rail Transit Corporation was responsible for constructing MR33 under a Build, Operations, and Transfer Agreement. This means MRTC owned and operated the line for 25 years, after which ownership and would be transferred to the Philippine government as stipulated in Republic Act in 6957. So we also have the Philippine National Railway, or the PNR. It is a corporation to serve as instrumentality of the government of the Philippines in providing a nationwide railroad transportation system. The Philippine National Railway shall not be subject to the authority and supervisions of the Public Service Commission. We also have the Department of the Trade and Industry, or the DTI, under Executive Order 133, which remains effective up to the present time. So the Department of Trade and Industry serves as a primary coordinative, promotive, and facilitative arm for trade, industry, and investment activities. It acts as the catalyst for intensified private sector activity to accelerate and sustain economic growth through a comprehensive industrial growth strategy, a progressive and socially responsible liberalization and deregulation program, and policies designed for the expansion and diversification of the both domestic and foreign trade. We also have the Board of Investments. Under the Omnibus Investment Code of 1987, the Board of Investment shall be responsible for the regulations and promotion of investments in the Philippines. So the Omnibus Investment Code of 1987 designates the Board of Investments as a primary agency responsible for overseeing and encouraging investments in the Philippines. This means the BOI has the authority to regulate investment activities and implement policies designed to attract both domestic and foreign investment. So we have the Philippine Economic Zone Authority, or the PEZA, on Republic Act Number 7916, creating the Philippine Economic Zone Authority, was enacted on July 25, 1994. With the following objectives: we have to establish the legal framework and mechanism of the integration, coordination, planning, and monitoring of special economic zones, industrial estates, parks, export processing zones, and other economic zones, to inform selective areas in the country into highly developed industrial, commercial, tourist, banking, investment, and financial centers, where highly trained workers and efficient services will be available to commercial enterprises. We also have to promote the follow of investors. both foreign and local, into a special economic zone which would generate employment opportunities and establish backward and forward linkage among industries in and around the economic zones. To stimulate the repatriations of Filipino capital by providing attractive climate and incentives for business activity. To promote financial and industrial cooperations between the Philippines and industrialized countries through technologies intensive industries that will modernize the country's industrial sector and improve productivity level by utilizing new technology and managerial know-how, and to invest the special economic zones on certain areas thereof with the status of a separate customs territory within the framework of the constitutions and the national sovereignty and territorial integrity of the Philippines. So we have the Department of Foreign Affairs, so the DFA. So the Department of Foreign Affairs is a prime agency of government responsible for the pursuit of the state's foreign policy and the nerve of the center for the foreign service, worthy of the trust and pride of every Filipino. So the story of the Republic of the Philippines and that of the DFA are intertwined, as it is difficult to discuss the important events marking the passage of the years at the department without somehow according this to the rise of the Philippines as an independent nation. So the Department of Foreign Affairs plays a crucial role in shaping the Philippines' foreign policy, and its history is closely tied to the country's journey towards independence. So we have the Department of Interior and Local Government, or the DILG. So the Department of Interior and Local Government has the following functions. First is assist the President in the exercise of general supervisions and local governments, advise the President in the promulgation of policies, rules, regulations, and other issuance on the general supervisions of our local governments and our public order and safety. We also have established and prescribed rules, regulations, and other issuance implementing laws on public orders and safety, the general supervisions over local governments, and the promotion of local autonomy and community empowerment, and monitor compliance thereof, provide assistance toward legislations regarding local government, law enforcement, and public safety. Establish and prescribe plans, policies, programs, and projects to promote the peace and order, ensure public safety, and further strengthen the administrative, technical, and fiscal capabilities of local government offices and personnel. Formulate plans, policies, and programs which will meet local emergencies arising from natural and man-made disasters. Establish a system of coordinations and cooperations among the citizenry, local executives, and the department to ensure the effective and efficient delivery of basis services to the public. Organize, train, and equip primarily for the performance of the policy functions of police corps that is national in scope and civilian in character. We also have the Bureau of Food and Drugs, or the BFAD. The Bureau of Food and Drugs is an attached agency under the Department of Health in charge of the registrations of processed foods, drugs, medical devices, in vitro diagnostic reagents, cosmetics, and household hazardous substances. Products. In case these products will have to be hand carried or mailed for personal consumption abroad, consumers may go under directly to the BFD policy, planning and advocacy divisions, public assistance, and compliance divisions. So the Bureau of Drug and Drugs is the responsible for regulating various products like food, drugs, and cosmetic in the Philippines. If you need to bring these products abroad for personal use, you can contact the BFAD policies, planning and advocacy divisions for guidance and assistance. So we also have the Bureau of Customs in under Republic Act 1937 on June 22, 1957, entitled The Revising the Tariff and Customs Laws, the General Duties as amended by Republic Act 9135 dated on April 27, 2001. The power jurisdictions of the Bureau include assist and collect lawful revenues, prevent smuggling and other funds, control vessels, aircraft during foreign trade, enforce tariff and custom laws, control the handling of foreign malls for revenues and prevention purposes, control import and export cargoes, and jurisdictions over forfeiture and seizure cases. So we have the Philippine Coast Guard. By virtue of the Republic Act number 5173, the Philippine Coast Guard has been created as an attached agency of the Department of Transportation and Communications with the following objectives: to ensure or assist the enforcement of all applicable laws upper the high seas and waters subject to the jurisdiction of the Republic of the Philippines, to enforce law, promulgate and administer regulations for the promotion of safety of life and property within the maritime jurisdictions of the Philippines, and to develop, establish, maintain, and operate with due regard to the requirements of national defense, aids to maritime navigations and rescue facilities for the operations of safety and over the high seas and waters, subject to the jurisdiction of the Philippines. So we have the Professional Regulatory Board for Customs Brokers. Pursuant to the national policy, the government shall provide a program to set up a climate conducive to the practice of the professions and maximize the capability and potentials of our Filipino customs brokers. Hence, the Republic Act number 9280 on March 30, 2004 was enacted regulating the practice of customs brokers professions in the Philippines and creating the Professional Regulatory Board for custom brokers. So this act provides for shall govern the standardizations and regularization of custom administrations, educations, the examinations and registrations of custom brokers, and the supervisions, controls, and regulations of the practice in the custom broker professions. So we also have the Nayong Filipino Foundation, or the NFP. The Nayong Filipino Foundation was created under PD number 37 on November 16, 1972, with the intention of promoting, encouraging, and initiating research and development projects and activities in social sciences, humanities, and social and ameliorations and allied fields. The policy-making body of the Nayong Filipino shall be the Board of Trustees, composed of the chairman and 8 members to be appointed by the President for a term of 1 year. The Nayong Filipino Foundation, established in 1972, was created to focus on research and development in various fields like social sciences, humanities, and other social relations. Its goal was to encourage progress and innovations of these areas to improve the well-being of the Filipino. We have the Tourism Enterprise Zone Authority, or the TIZA. Under the Tourism Act, the Tourism Enterprise Zone tourism is empowered to administer tourism zones, regulates tourism zone enterprises, and grant tax perks. So the Philippine tourism public sector plays a vital role in developing and promoting the country's tourism industry. Through various agencies and initiatives, it strives to create a sustainable and thriving tourism environment for local and international visitors. So I think that's all. Thank you and God bless us all.